Hello, everyone. Thank you for being with us today. We are going to brief you on two topics. The first one being a murder. So let me tell you about this. It's called Polo Park, Polk, Orange, Lake, and Osceola. It is a retirement community. It's Polo Park West. It's right up at 27 and 192, where all of the counties intersect. It is a remarkable retirement community where people not only retire in their golden years, but they look out for each other. It's a fun community. It's a fun place to live. So let me take you to Sunday afternoon about 1 or 1:30. A neighbor called the sheriff's office and said, I'm real concerned about my friend, John Torneo, who's 67. We're pretty close, and I haven't seen or heard from him in a couple of days. Around September, he had a 19-year-old kid move in with him. John's a retired nurse, 30 years in Connecticut, just a superhuman being and always wants to help people. Well, last Wednesday, he made this 19-year-old leave because he wasn't help paying the rent. He wasn't help keeping up the house, so they put him out. And now I haven't seen John in a couple of days. So our deputy arrives at the scene, and the neighbor has a key to the house. So while the neighbor goes in to look in the house, our deputy stays outside and is doing some work on the computer and is working with a real-time crime center. The deputy discovers that the victim's vehicle is traveling south on Highway 27, and the deputy thinks, well, he's just not home. The neighbor comes back out of the house and says, no, he's not in there. So the deputy thinks, well, he's not in there. His vehicle's moving south on 27, and in 12 minutes clears the call. The neighbor goes home, watching football games and texting and trying to call his friend John, and there's no answer. And it's eating at the neighbor, and he says, something's just wrong about this. This is not my friend John Torneo that I know. So the neighbor gets with a couple of other neighbors. They go back to the house by themselves, unlock the house, and go in. Now there's one bedroom that's locked. So they take a screwdriver and they take the lock off of the door and go in, and there's John, dead, disemboweled, eviscerated on the floor. So obviously they call the sheriff's office, and we respond to the event. Let me pause there to say that the deputy, in our estimation, who has been with us about a year, is a really fine young deputy, but obviously needs more training. So we have taken her out of patrol. She can no longer work by herself until she goes back through our third phase of training again. She, in our estimation and my estimation, did just enough, but she didn't go above and beyond. Had she gone above and beyond, had she walked around the perimeter of the house, she would have seen a screen off of the bathroom door, or the bathroom window. So at the end of the day, it didn't make any difference.
Saludos amigos de TampaHoy.com, mi nombre es José Ángel Acevedo y estamos viendo una conferencia de prensa del alguacil Grady Judd, el alguacil del condado Polk, que está hablando sobre el arresto y el asesinato de un enfermero muy querido en el área de Davenport, que fue asesinado a puñaladas. Según está él narrando en estos momentos en esta conferencia de prensa que estamos escuchando en vivo a través de TampaHoy.com, y en la que él acaba de mencionar que los vecinos fueron quienes alertaron esta situación por primera vez, en la que mencionó que uno de sus amigos estaba mencionándole a las autoridades que no había encontrado a su amigo en varios días y que realmente él quería saber qué estaba pasando. Entonces pasaron los días y los vecinos se metieron dentro de la residencia donde encontraron el cuerpo de este hombre durante el fin de semana del domingo, este fin de semana pasado. eh, y bueno, pusieron a este sospechoso bajo custodia. Así que vamos a escuchar más
Pizza
sobre esta
restaurant that
conferencia de
he
prensa
worked as a
que está
dishwasher.
ocurriendo ahora mismo en el condado Polk y en el que el alguacil
I mean, I
Grady
got to
Judd
tell you,
está dando
Helen Keller could have followed the leads
detalles
that this
sobre
guy
el
left.
asesinato de
This
este
is what we
enfermero
call a
jubilado de
slow pitch
65 años en una
for more
comunidad de
investigation.
personas jubiladas. Y
So
según
we
menciona el
drew
alguacil
investigative
Grady Judd,
means in working with our
este
colleagues, found the
enfermero
victim's
era muy
vehicle.
querido en su vecindario y también
And our
había sido
detectives set up
muy
on the vehicle.
conocido por brindarle apoyo a personas que tenían mala suerte, jóvenes en malos pasos o personas que necesitaban ayuda. Él siempre estaba dispuesto a ayudarlos y de esta manera fue que presuntamente perdió la vida apuñalado por este joven que vivía en su hogar y que ellos le brindaron espacio.
Suspect.
Así que vamos a escuchar un poco más sobre la conferencia de
He didn't
prensa
want to be
en estos
arrested.
momentos.
So he fled from us. We attempted to pit the vehicle a couple of times unsuccessfully. And finally, in his urge to get away from us, he ran into a ditch and crashed the car, jumped out, and ran on foot. Our homicide detectives, which are known as being meticulous kind of guys, ran him down. So they not only got to do follow up, they got to be involved in a pursuit and catch the bad guy. I was proud of them. Quite frankly, I'd like to see them running. So when we arrested him, then he confessed. And this is what he told us. I was really angry when he put me out of the house, and now I'm having to live in a shed by a friend's house. I didn't want to go away from my girlfriend. He never left the vicinity from where he committed the murder. So about 3 to 4 o'clock on Sunday morning, he goes back to John's house and he breaks in. He breaks in to the bathroom window and hides in a closet. When he hears our victim, John, settle in for the night, then he goes to stealing cash, credit cards. And what happens then? Our victim wakes up. He sees Julian. He understands who he is because he's lived with him since about September. And our victim confronts Julian and says, "You're not supposed to be here." At that point in time, our suspect told us, "I shoved John down on the bed and ran to the kitchen and retrieved a knife, a butcher knife. I ran back to the bedroom and I stabbed him and I cut him. He eviscerated him. And then he took a wine bottle." John keeps a wine cooler in his bedroom. Menage a Trois was the wine. You can buy it for $7.49. And beat him in the head with it to make sure he was dead. Then he took the wine bottle and the knife, left the neighborhood. He had to walk across the street between some mobile homes. It's still dark in the 4 o'clock Sunday morning era, and threw the knife and the wine bottle into the creek. He told us he did that, and we were able to go back and recover both of them. Then he left in the victim's vehicle and was driving around, using his credit cards, spending his cash when we arrested him. So in about 12 hours, 11 hours from the time our homicide team arrived, we had our suspect in custody. But it's important to understand that sometimes when you're nice to evil people, they kill you. Here's what's difficult about this to understand. John thought he was a kid needing a home, that he was homeless. Julian Trevino did not have a criminal record. John, who was a retired nurse and had helped so many people along life's way and was a great neighbor, did not have a criminal record. And this all started because another neighbor was going to John's house to provide holiday goodies and help celebrate the Christmas season. It's sad. It's real sad. But we have him in custody. We have evidence, mountains of evidence. And now we are wrapping up the investigation, whereupon we will make sure that Julian, at a minimum, spends the rest of his life in prison. I could argue with the heinousness and the violence and the fact that he broke in. It was a home invasion, burglary, robbery, that he shoved him down, ran to the kitchen and ran back and stabbed him, eviscerated him, disemboweled him, beat him in the head with a cheap wine bottle. That maybe the state attorney will decide that this should be a capital murder, but that's the state attorney's decision, and we'll fully support that. Our state attorney's office, Brian Haas and his team, are simply the very best. Are there any questions about this event?
Sheriff, first of all, what was the original reason that, first of all, how these two met? Second of all, is just given he's a nurse, did he just feel sorry for this kid, say, hey, come over?
John had a history of helping those less fortunate. John had a history of wanting to provide and make a positive difference. I think it's from his experience of 30 years as a nurse helping people. Now, how he met our suspect specifically, that's still under investigation. Obviously, our victim, John, can't talk to us. And we will tie those loose ends up. But our homicide team had him in custody, my goodness, in 11, 12 hours after they got involved in the investigation. And look, this is what we call, as I said before, I mean, it's, you know, it's a T-ball homicide. It's set up, you knock it over the park. It's, you know, there's all the evidence, there's the confession, you know, and you ask the suspect, I mean, he didn't leave the area. So they ask him, you stayed right here in the guy's car that you murdered. He said, well, I didn't want to get far away from my girlfriend. Well, he's far away from her now. She lives up in the northeast part of the county, and he's an hour away at the South County Jail, and he's going to get further away upon his conviction. He's going to the other end of the state for at least the rest of his life at best. There's no reason for it. It's just vicious and violent and should have never occurred. And it happened to a man who tried to help him, and he wouldn't help himself. So finally, John put him out of the house.
I understand he doesn't have any significant criminal history, maybe any criminal history. Have you been able to find anything in his background that suggests this type of outburst or behavioral issues at school, what happened?
Right. That will be the follow-up investigation, as you well understand. We just found the knife this morning. We've actually found the wine bottle, and we found the suspect's shoes. So we asked the suspect, why did you throw your shoes into the creek along with the wine bottle and the knife? He said, well, that's the only blood I got on me that I could tell was my shoes, so I threw them away too. And this was in the dark of night, and then he was out of the community. But I applaud the neighbor who said, look, I'm friends with John. He's a super nice guy, this is way out of the normal zone, and he kept digging in until we got to where we needed to be with this investigation.
Does poor vet John have any family next to kin you've never found?
We're working on that now. He's from Connecticut. That's where he spent 30 years, and I think my folks are working on some next of kin now. All right. Then this next one I want to talk to you about. This is Stephen John Phillips. He's 64 from Mulberry. He has no criminal history. None. Zero. He's an optician for the Lakeland Eye Clinic on South Florida Avenue. Now, for those of you that use the Lakeland Eye Clinic on South Florida Avenue, they're very professional and do a really good job. However, Stephen John Phillips, you know, when he's not busy helping people see better, you know, he's not seeing too clearly himself. So this is Sunday morning about 10:55. Obviously, he needed to be in church instead of engaged in a road rage incident. But he was engaged in a road rage incident on Hardin Boulevard that went into Old Highway 37, which is in the southwest area of incorporated and unincorporated Polk County. Well, he was brake checking the victim, and they pulled up next to each other at a red light. And guess what? He pointed a gun at the victims, and there was a child in the victim's car. The victims went home. They had a photograph of his tag, had a photograph of him holding a gun and pointing it at them. Now, you can see this clearly with or without glasses. This optician should have known that this was going to be crystal clear to us. And I imagine some of my detectives or deputies, you know, they get their glasses at the Lakeland Eye Clinic. So we go see Stephen John Phillips at his house. And when we arrive, he admits, yeah, I was involved in a little road rage incident. We said, well, what about when you committed an aggravated assault by pointing the gun? He said, I didn't point a gun at anyone. And we said, does this look familiar? Can you tell who this is with or without glasses? And he looked at it and he said, I believe that's me, and that's my gun. He said, I didn't know I pointed it high enough that they could see it. I was just protecting myself because I thought the victims pointed something at me. So Stephen John Phillips did the right thing, and he gave us his gun, and then we took him to jail, and it's Merry Christmas to you, John. You're arrested, and we provided to you for Christmas, for the first time in your life, felony criminal charges. No criminal history. You know, I try to educate people. I try to coach people. I beg people, don't get involved in road rage. Just back off and leave the people alone, because it does not turn out well. So now we've got a professional man here, well-deserving, really earned these felony charges when he pointed a gun at a child in the car as well as the other two victims. The Christmas season is just beginning. It should be a time of joy and peace and happiness for your family and your fellow men and women. So keep this in mind. You can either behave or you can spend Christmas with me at the county jail, because we're going to make sure that our 53-year crime rate low continues. Don't fight with people. Don't point guns at people, or you go to jail. You see what I mean?
Sheriff, I assume that the optical is not operational or operating on very different sort of circumstances right now. What are your thoughts for the other employees there who depended on him to keep this place going?
Well, he's an optician in a very large clinic, and I can tell you,
So it's a big,
it's a big clinic, and Lakeland Eye Clinic is very professional and wonderful people. You know, I'm disappointed in him to say the least, but he's got problems. He's got real problems, and people don't understand that. In a moment of anger and rage, they can change their life forever by doing something stupid. This is what we call stupid. Stupid with a capital S. Stupid at Christmas time. You know, even the Grinch says, "Come on, man, what are you doing? Are you out of your mind?"
when it comes to this family, they have a 2-year-old in the car. What are your thoughts for them, thinking that he might have been about to shoot at
Well-
them or the child?
Well, I'm blessed. We're blessed. They're blessed. We're all fortunate that he didn't shoot, that no one shot. I mean, I've seen incidents where somebody points a gun like this and he didn't pull the trigger, so maybe he had absolutely no intentions of pulling the trigger. So what happened if the other people had raised their gun up and killed him? How would that have worked for his family on Christmas? I can assure you of one thing. He knew better, and he shouldn't have pointed this gun, and the baby Jesus ain't happy. Okay, anything else? God bless y'all. If I don't see you before, have a very Merry Christmas. Take care. Sure. Come on out here when you finish. See y'all.